Good morning. This is the BLAINESWORLD podcast that can be found each week on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. You can also now listen to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And you can get more information and find us as well at this website, www.blainesworld.net. I'm your host, Blaine Greenfield, and I'm in my Zoom studio in lovely downtown Fairview, North Carolina. Each week, we focus on positive news and information about people and organizations both Western North Carolina and throughout the country. And toward that end, it's my pleasure to introduce three of the members of a local band, one of my favorites, called Deep River. And they are Sharon Lewis, Sandy Howard, and Nita Smith. And there you go. You read what I was going to say. And Sharon, you can wave to everybody as well. And these are three of the folks in Deep River. And I should ask you, Sandy, we only have so many people you can fit on the screen here, but there's some other members of Deep River aren't with us, and they are, who's missing?
Right. So there's 7 of us all together playing the show Saturday night. And you've got, the feminine side, the female side. The other are 4 gentlemen. Gerry Brown, who's our acoustic guitar player. He's been with us for 16 years. Alec Fehl is our lead guitarist and electric guitarist. And gosh, he's been with us, I've lost track.
7 years.
Justin Watt is our drummer, who has been with us for 16 years. And then we have a guest musician, Andy John, and he is playing with us this Saturday night as a guest musician. And 3 of those 4 gentlemen are instructors at the Asheville Music School also.
And I should ask Nita, how long have you been with the group?
I've only been with the group about 5 years.
Only
So I'm the newcomer.
Well, even as you say that, I have to give you and everybody else credit. This is one of the most longest staying in business bands I've ever heard of. Most bands, they make it a couple of years. That's a lot. I like what you said, Nita, 5 years. Sandy and Sharon, you've been with the band. You started the band. How many years have you been together?
31 this year.
But who counts, right?
Right. Who counts? We had our big 30th anniversary celebration show at ISIS Music Hall last July. So that was a lot of fun.
You should use, by the way, and I'll let you steal the line from me, Sandy and Sharon, but the line I use, Nita, when asked how long I've been married, I say not long enough. So you can use that line now when asked. And so you have to remember the advantage that, Sharon, you don't have to remember the number of years, not long enough, but talk a little bit about that. That's incredible. Sandy, I'll ask you, what's the secret of the success? That how have you been able to stay together as a group and even bring in Nita for 5 years? How do you guys do it?
I think that we all love the music that we play, and we like to please our audiences. I can say that when Nita joined our band, she loves country music. It's hard to find a musician that loves country music as much as we do. And Nita came in. She's got a strong, powerful, beautiful voice. And really enjoyed not only singing leads, but also singing harmony like Sharon and I do, and was just a great fit. And we just haven't looked back.
Well, one of the things that always impressed me about Deep River is the fact that you actually work at this kind of hard. You rehearse you have rehearsals each week for 1 week?
For a couple of hours, and then we have a vocal rehearsal before that. So Sunday night's vocal rehearsal with the 3 of us, and then Monday night is the band rehearsal with the guys.
Something else that impressed me too, though, that when you have rehearsals, you operate on a pretty tight schedule, though. In other words, you come to work. And describe, Nita, kind of rehearsal process. How does that go?
Well, I mean, it's pretty amazing, really, for a band, because we start right at 7. And we get calls if we're later than 7. Like, what's wrong? Has something happened? But it's great. It keeps us on schedule, and and we try to end right at 9.
Okay, which is really cool. And before we go any further, if I can put Sharon on the spot a little bit, as we're talking about Deep River, I think it'd be great, Sharon, if we get lucky here, if we could show a clip of just what Deep River looks like, and if you've never seen them, you're in for a treat. And we hope this is going to work from a technical standpoint, but if it doesn't, we'll talk over it. But Sharon, the pressure's on you, kid. We're going to see if you can get this clip going. And folks, describe as Sharon's getting the clip going, Sandy. What are folks going to see?
Well, you're going to see a compilation video of the Eagles tribute show. And we're going to be performing this show this Saturday night, February 18th, at White Horse Black Mountain. And if you go to the website, whitehorseblackmountain.com, and under their calendar this Saturday night, you can bring us up there. It'll explain a little bit about the band. And the show starts at 8 p.m. And tickets in advance, I believe, are $20. And I think they're $25 at the door. So we're hoping to pack the house for everybody who's an Eagles fan and a Deep River fan.
Well, let me ask you that question. And Sharon, you're still working on the video, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
is it not?
Keep working. We're talking. Okay. It's not up yet. But let me ask you this question, Nita. I'll kind of rotate between the two of you. Why do you choose the Eagles? Or are you all Eagles fanatics? Is that it? Nita, how come you play the Eagles?
Well, yeah, we all like the Eagles, and it seems like our fans like the Eagles too. So it seems like it's a real popular show, a real popular band, and they have great harmonies and a lot of really great, Okay,
let me stop. Here we go. Here's the band.
So I'll pause it there for now.
Okay, you can, or you can come back to it.
Yeah, we can come back to it because I'd like you to hear, that was Sandy on the lead vocal, and I'd like you to hear Nita, and if there's time, you can hear me.
Okay, well, I suggest this, Sharon, since we're on a roll, thanks to your efforts. Why don't we, because the clip's not that long, why don't we finish the clip, then we can come back and talk a little bit about it. So
okay,
you're seeing a compilation clip, which is very well done, of Deep River. And if you would, just go back to the clip, if you would.
Sure.
Sharon.
And just so the audience knows, this was a live show at Ambrose West in West Asheville in January of 2020, right before COVID shut us all down. So here we go.
Okay, we'll have Sharon get us back, and we're making progress getting back to the regular screen.
Yeah, just give me a sec here.
Okay, very
There we
well. Thanks, Sharon. Good job on that. Thank you.
Yay! We
You were
made
at
it.
6. Wow, I'm very impressed. We'll talk a little bit about then the whole idea of the concert. So Eagles, have you always performed Eagles, or how long have you been playing Eagles stuff?
Well, let's just say for a rough estimate, Sandy, correct me if you disagree, maybe it was a decade or more ago. We decided to throw in some country rock songs into our country music shows, because we're a country band. We have original material that we wrote or co-wrote, and we also have our heroes. And we decided to throw in some country rock. So the Eagles, of course, came to mind, along with Poco and Pure Prairie League and some others. And gosh, the audience reaction to Eagles music was incredible. And we were always getting feedback, could please do more Eagles in the show. And that kind of developed into like a whole set of Eagles music. And then finally, after a period of time and continued good feedback and sort of fans' demand, we decided to do the whole shebang, the whole 20 greatest hits show.
And let me ask you about that and kind of rotate between the three of you. So I asked Sandy this. In terms of the Eagles, ballpark, do you know how many songs they have?
Eagles?
Yeah.
I have no idea. They have a lot.
Yeah, but it's incredible, isn't it? You know, in terms of how prolific they are. Do you have a favorite song?
They are. They're wonderful songwriters, and then they co-wrote a lot of songs with songwriters. I think that even though we're female and they're male, it's kind of like we're their yin and yang, we're their yin to their yang, because they have multiple lead singers and then harmonies in every single song. And when you listen to their songs, you, as a musician, I always thought, oh, those songs would be very easy to replicate. And then when we would start to learn songs, we realized that they would change just like a little thing in one particular chorus or one verse, or they change the harmony just a little bit. And that's, I think, what makes them so appealing and pleasurable to listen to.
Do you have a favorite song?
Oh, favorite song. Well, New Kid in Town, which we cover that they won the Grammy for best vocal performance. I don't know what year that was. But that's, I'd say, a pretty popular song, and it won the Grammy. So I like that song, but I like a lot of the Eagles songs.
And something, Nita, do you have a favorite?
Well, I like to say my favorite is Heartache Tonight. It's just a great rocker, and it's got great harmonies in it. And I just love singing that one.
Now, unfortunately, I guess for everybody, the Eagles aren't still performing. Is that correct? Only through
No, they
bands?
are.
Oh, they're back.
As a matter of fact, they'll be at the Greensboro, North Carolina Coliseum on April the 4th. Now they're just one of the founders, Don Henley, is still with the group. Of course, he still leads the organization. It's a business. He's still ahead of the business, and he still performs. Joe Walsh is still a part of the group, and Timothy B. Schmidt, the bass player, is still there. One of our country heroes with whom we've sung actually back in our Nashville decade, Vince Gill, is currently a member of the Eagles and has been for, I guess, 2 or 3 years now, and tours with them when he's not doing country music.
He stepped in when Glenn Fry died.
Now,
Yes,
Nita,
it's correct.
Nita, are you going to see them in concert, or is the whole group going to see them in concert?
I am not.
No, you're not?
Yeah, Blaine, they came, maybe it's this year or last year they came, and we looked at the ticket prices, and it was, beyond, I think it was like $500 ticket. Yeah.
Well, it's like I said today on Facebook when I was posting a reminder to everyone about the show and Twitter and other places. And I said, well, you could sit 10 paces from the Eagles at the
Oh,
Greensboro
I saw
Coliseum
that.
before, and that'll cost you $1,150 a seat. Or you could sit 10 paces from Deep River singing the Eagles for $20 or 25 on the
Yeah,
day of.
and do the math. Well, have the two of you especially, have you ever seen them play or?
I
the re-
have not.
No, actually, we have never seen them live.
Because the reason I asked the question earlier, right, that the Eagles were of course big in the 70s and 80s, and then they broke up for a while. I don't know the whole story, but they disbanded and then formed again.
For 14 years, from 1980 to 1994. And one of the famous quotes that I think it was Glenn Fry said when they broke up, that he said that hell would freeze over before the Eagles would ever get back together again. And when they did 14 years later, they named the album Hell Freezes Over.
Great time. Well, I guess the three of you have a challenge though, because now are you going to have to then perform as long as they have, So, I mean, it's incredible. Rock groups, we're laughing, Sandy, but rock groups, Rolling Stones being classic. How old is Mick Jagger?
Is he 80? I don't know. Is he 80?
Close to 80, if
Yeah.
not 80.
Yeah.
Same thing too. So the Eagles, how old are these guys? Probably getting up there too?
I think Henley's probably the oldest, and I believe he's our age peer, Blaine. I don't want to say in his early 70s.
But isn't it incredible? And this is going to be the challenge to the three of you to be able to perform, for another, 20, 30 years, or a Deep River will be performing. I mean, 31 years is pretty outstanding. I mean, it's just incredible. Nita, even for you to be in a band for 5 years and have regular rehearsals. Is that, I mean, I have to ask you kind of, if you're willing to share it, do you guys all get along, or do you have spats, when you're in rehearsals and before shows? Nita, have you ever?
Never before.
We do. We get along very well. I think everybody's pretty easy to get along with, and I think everybody really cares about each other. It's a great band to be a part of.
Okay, because I said, yeah.
It's like a family, and so just like a family, there's opinions, and everybody is very intelligent and very creative. And I think that sometimes, at rehearsals, there's differing opinions. And we always iron it out. We've always been able to do that. I don't think there's ever been a spat before a show between the musicians. We're always excited to do a show.
Yeah, I think when you bring 6, 7, 8 musicians, because we have played with as many as 6 core members and 2 guests at times, and you bring that many intelligent, creative people together, like Sandy said, they're bound to be, some creative differences here or there. But I can honestly say, I obviously I love Sandy. She's my wife. I love Nita. She's our dear friend. I love you, Blaine.
Thanks.
There's not a person in Deep River that I don't love and care about. It is a family-like feel, and we work really hard to create that family feeling so everyone feels welcome and appreciated, because everyone is bringing enormous talent, and there's no way to really repay that gift of their time and their talent.
Over the years, so I don't know if you have a figure, but ballpark figure, how many shows have you done? Would you have any idea over the years, 31 years?
Wow. Well, COVID put a big dent in that number. But I would say, I would say probably 300 or more shows. We used to do a lot more shows than we do now. Of course, back in our Nashville decade, we were singing weekly. So as I say that out loud, we've probably had 500 or more shows.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
I think, before pre-COVID, I would say we were doing a gig on average once a month, or sometimes it would be twice a month, and then we not do any the following month. And then it slowed way down during COVID. If anybody wants to go to our YouTube channel, you can see our virtual videos that we made during the pandemic. And then when we started to first play in, was it 2021 when we got back to live playing?
Well, that was the virtual video year. The next time we played live was last year, right? Wasn't it last year, Nita? Or
No, the summer before 2021.
Okay, so we did 3 shows live. The pandemic was still raging, fairly significantly. So we did not play indoors in 2021. We did 3 outdoors.
And then we did 3 outdoors in 2022. And then we did a show at ISIS. That was our first indoor show, the ISIS show, right?
Yeah, since Ambrose West, that video that you saw snippets from.
Yes.
But
and this will be our second indoor big show.
Yeah, and we've got, I'm very happy to say, Blaine, I don't know if you're aware of this for your audience, but Ambrose West was closed by COVID, and that was heartbreaking, I think, to the Asheville music community. Generally speaking, I know we loved it and had played there many times, and we're very sad to see it go away. Well, it's come back.
Oh, really?
It's resurrected. It's now the Ayur Prana listening room. It's a yoga and wellness center, but they're reinvigorating the concert side there in that beautiful music hall that they created under Ambrose. So we're playing there on July 1st this summer. It's another of our upcoming gigs.
Well, thanks for sharing that, because the other very sad news was, of course, when ISIS closed. ISIS closed, and I'm hoping that ISIS will come back. But let me ask you, Nita, an opinion on something else you did because of COVID, and I was so impressed with the virtual videos you did. And talk a little bit about that and describe what that was about, because I thought it was so outstanding, the couple you did. What was that about?
Those were really, really cool. And it was kind of amazing how we could all, do our parts separately. And then we had, who was it? Sally Sparks,
Sally
right?
Sparks.
Sally Sparks was the genius who put all of our videos together to make good harmonies and good video, and yeah, those worked out really, really well.
And I'll invite folks to catch them. Sharon, if folks want to see those videos and they're so outstanding, what's the best bet?
Oh, well, thanks. It's go to youtube.com/Deep River Asheville, all one word, Deep River Asheville. And that's our YouTube channel.
Okay, and how many videos are up on that channel, ballpark?
Oh gosh, I'm going to say there are probably at least 20. There's a limitation to free YouTube, and we don't pay a premium to YouTube, so maybe 20, 25 tops are there.
And I'll encourage folks, if they do check it out, which I think they're in for a treat. If they do, I believe they can also subscribe to the site as well.
Yes, we'd be very grateful for new subscribers. And just so for the record, there are actually 4 virtual videos that we made with Sally. We spent the better part of a year between 2020 and 2021 making 4 of those videos with her.
And let me ask you, Sandy, in terms of your reaction to that, how was that performing before a camera, as opposed to a live audience? Was that tough? We don't have any sound from Sandy. Wait, we still don't.
Sorry.
There you go. Okay.
It was totally different. It was becoming an actress. and playing to the camera. And it was quite strange at first. Then I thought it was really fun by the second video. And, then towards the end, I was feeling very lonely and wishing we could play live again, because it's just you and the camera. You can hear other things going on, but it's just you doing it by yourself.
Yet in seeing that clip, and I've seen you live several times, that you really are quite the performers. You really seem to get into it when you're performing. Let me ask you a question I ask of other performers. So I'll ask you, Nita, this question. When you're on stage performing, does it bother you if other people are singing along or they're dancing along when you're doing your thing?
No, that makes it better.
Does it really?
That always makes it better. Yeah, much more fun, more exciting, and I love to sing when other people are when the audience is singing and dancing as well. Yeah.
Well, I guess the real key, though, and I guess there's space at your upcoming show that they could do this, but I guess the real key is that you control the mic, though. I guess that because you guys are laughing. Be grateful, Sharon, when you were playing the clip before, that I wasn't singing. You didn't hear me singing along because
Well,
I think that would have been the end of the podcast. But it lends itself, though, Nita. Your stuff does lend itself to people singing along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and people love to sing along to Eagles.
Mhm.
They all know the songs, and we do get people dancing too. They like to dance to the Eagles.
Yeah,
And
totally.
that's part of the fun, I guess, to interact with the group. And let me ask you, just as we kind of wind down here a little bit. So I promised Nita we'd only be on for about 3.5 hours. So we're winding down a little bit, Nita. But let me ask you, in terms of after the show. So I'll ask you, Sharon, again, kind of highlights. If people want to see Deep River in the special Eagles tribute, it's going to be this coming Saturday night. The date is what again?
February the 18th.
Okay, at where?
Horse Black Mountain in Black Mountain, North Carolina. It's
Okay.
right there in the heart of the intersection of Route 9, and I think that's Highway 70. You
Very
can't
easy.
miss.
Right. Great. There's a lot of parking, not only in the for the facility, but right across the street, plenty of parking.
Right.
Great place. A lot of great restaurants in the area. Come to spend some time. People want to get tickets. Best bet, Sharon, is to do what?
Go to whitehorseblackmountain.com. whitehorseblackmountain.com, and just go to their calendar this Saturday, the 18th, and we will pop up Deep River.
And if they do so now, between now and Saturday at least, they can save a couple bucks if they order tickets in advance.
Right.
And
20 bucks a ticket.
Yeah. And I will tell you, the facility is a great place to see a concert at, a lot of fun. They usually get a big crowd. So, everybody says that, get tickets to are all sold out. But I happened to a couple shows recently at White Horse Black Mountain that they were sold out. And let me ask you this, after this show, what do we have to look forward to in the future?
Well, our shows coming up are going to be a mix of country hits and Eagles hits. So kind of a hybrid, if you will, or a nice mixture of the two. We love our country music. And I don't think I've said this, but Asheville's not really a strong country music town. That's something we've learned living here now almost 20 years. There is sort of a passionate subgenre of people who love it, but we love our country music, and so we'll be doing these hybrid shows, a mix of country and Eagles.
And talk about one other thing you do, which I love. You mentioned that you do write some songs yourself. I don't know who does the songwriting. You and Sandy or Nita, are you involved in that at all? The songwriting. So how many songs have the two of you written?
But Blaine, can I just mention one thing about the upcoming show that Sharon talked about, beyond White Horse Black Mountain? The country songs are going to be women. A lot. Well, no, it's country from 1950 to the present day. Would you guys say present day?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right up,
um,
yeah.
country hits. So, across the time span.
Okay. So
But
should we,
there's some male artists in there too,
Or,
like
yeah.
Wyatt Oakham and Glenn Campbell and some others that we're going to cover.
and the one group I'm waiting for you to cover, you haven't done this yet, but I'm going to give you a
The
chance.
Turtles.
The Turtles.
Exactly.
The
Arguably the
Turtles.
greatest rock band of all time.
Blaine,
Yeah.
that the Turtles' big hit, "Happy Together,"
Right.
was the very first 45 record I ever
Is that
bought.
true? Oh, I love it.
I don't know. I mean, I was a little kid when I bought it. I don't know that I really knew who the Turtles were at the time. And I bought this record, and I still love that song
Do you still
today.
do you still have the record?
I don't have the
Oh.
record, no.
Well, I'll put a challenge out to you. I doubt you'll ever take it, but if you ever do a cover of "Happy Together," I'll feature it in my Blaine's World blog. We'll put the
Oh.
featured song. It's just such a well. I can't believe you told me that story, Sandy. But thank you for sharing that. Anyway, I'd like to thank
Can
you.
I add one little detail that we haven't talked about at all, and that is our show, our Eagle show this Saturday night, is we're telling their story in songs, of course, their greatest hits, but also little anecdotes
Okay,
and
great.
insights into their actual story. So you might hear that this song won the Grammy and this year, or this song was written by so and so, or this interim period, Randy Meisner left the band. Oops.
Okay, you're
Or
still
they
with me.
were fighting.
Yeah, or
And
they were fighting, right? And somebody stormed off and quit the band on right after a show, which happened to Don Felder. After a show, I think they were playing for, was it McGovern for his president, or Gerry Brown? They were playing for some political show, and Felder and Fry were going at it on stage. You
Okay.
could hear them live on the mics. And anyway, so we try to spice it up with some actual fun anecdotes about the band, so people get a little insight into their history.
No, that's really cool. It makes it more fun. Anyway, I'd like to thank Nita, Sandy, and Sharon for being my guests on this edition of Blaine's World podcast. I'll also like to thank my producer, Cappy Tassetti, and look forward to seeing folks next week or whenever we're next on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, you name it, you can find us. And we'll see you about Saturday night. Whatever, guys, be amazing. Thanks again.
Thank you, Blaine.
Okay.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Blaine.
Blaine.
Okay, great. See ya.